Alright guys, we gotta talk about Pokemon yet again. Fifth video in the row now. Because the other day, Junichi Masuda come out and actually made a statement regarding all the fan backlash that there's been against Pokemon Sword and Shield since they announced the whole Dexit controversy. And honestly, it wasn't much of a statement. I don't really know why they even bothered doing this because it didn't really accomplish anything but getting everyone all stirred up again. Now, I'm not going to read it word for word. I have a link in the description if you want to read it for yourself. It's about 3 paragraphs long. The gist of it is basically, it was a lot of corporate speak, but, we've heard your complaints. It was a very tough decision for us, but ultimately we're not going to change anything. Which is definitely not the answer that people were looking for, to say the least. I don't know why you would even acknowledge something like that if your answer is just going to be that, there's not going to be any changes or any post-launch patches or any effort whatsoever to sort of meet people's demands. So I fail to see the purpose of even acknowledging it at this point if that's all you're going to do. Now, one thing of note, in the little message, they did make sure to point out that, any of the Pokemon that aren't going to be in Sword and Shield will still be returning in some future game. So, they're not gone forever. They're just gone for this game. Which, I don't know why they bothered pointing that out. We knew that already. That's why we're mad in the first place. We don't want them in some random feature game that may come whenever. We want them all in each game. That's the whole point. That's why people are upset. I don't think anyone actually thought that any of the Pokemon that, weren't in these games were going to be, wiped from the continuity or anything. I don't think anyone actually thought that. People were upset that they're cutting corners and not including everything in this game. They're not including, past mechanics in this game, like Mega Evolution, like Z moves. The whole, bring back National Dex thing, it's become sort of an umbrella term. It's not just about the National Dex itself or about the Pokemon themselves. It's become more of a general movement of people being upset that they feel like the series is degrading. It's not measuring up to the standards that it should be. And people are expressing their displeasure about that, and I think rightfully so. And now they're doing it even louder because this little statement got issued and it kind of stirred everybody all up again. It's to the point now where I'm even starting to feel bad for Masuda. I honestly don't know if he's being truthful here. I'm gonna just be honest. On the one hand, he does seem genuinely upset about this like we are. Especially if you go back and watch the Treehouse segment when they first announced this. The look on his face, you could tell that he did not want to be saying this at all. So, that coupled with this message directly from him, it seems like he's upset too. But then on the other hand, he's also the guy that said, we couldn't get a Battle Frontier in Oris because people play mobile games. So, I don't know. But they keep trotting out Masuda to be the face of this entire issue. And I feel like it's not totally his fault. Again, in my previous video, I talked about it's not laziness, maybe it's stubbornness. And not necessarily stubbornness from Game Freak, maybe stubbornness from Nintendo or the Pokemon Company or whoever is responsible for making them stick to this yearly release schedule or semi-yearly release schedule that they've been on for a good while now. And maybe this is more evidence for that. Maybe Masuda is upset with the schedule too. He wants more time to develop these games to get them to the level that they need to be. He wants more time to, allocate people to other projects like Town or Giga Wrecker or, whatever non-Pokemon games that Game Freak wants to be working on. which I'm all for, by the way. I would like to see more non-Pokemon stuff from them. I just don't want it to come at the expense of the Pokemon games being worse. So maybe a little conspiracy theory here. Maybe like Ishihara or somebody is, the one demanding that they stick to this schedule, and Masuda doesn't like it either. So maybe he released this statement specifically to rile people up again, so he can have more leverage to try to get what he wants to. That's just me pulling shit out of my ass. Maybe it's totally wrong. Maybe Masuda secretly is just totally burnt out on Pokemon and hates it and wants to drop it altogether. How should I know? I don't know. I've never met him. But regardless, we're still in a situation where it's clear that the people that are upset about these games are not going to get what they want. They're not going to change Sword and Shield. Which, me personally, I didn't really expect them to do much at this point since we're so close to release. Unless they would do like a major delay. And that obviously was never really likely from the beginning. But, like, my issue is not just these games. Like, even if Sword and Shield are too far gone, they made it clear that this is their policy going forward. A lot of people still don't realize that. It's not just Sword and Shield. People are like, oh, well, maybe, the Diamond and Pearl remix, or maybe Gen 9 will have them all in the game, or they're going to do a third version, or, like, Ultra versions, or whatever, and include all the Pokemon. No, they're not. Unless, people mouth enough, and they do it because of that. But as of right now, they've made it pretty clear that their plan for all their future titles, remakes, new versions, new generations, whatever, they've made it clear that none of these games are going to have all the Pokemon in them. They're just going to have whichever ones they select to be in that specific regional Pokedex. Which, that's my main issue with this. Like, one pair of games being fucked up is less of a problem than all the games going forward being fucked up. And that was my hope with this whole Bring Back National Dex thing. I was hoping that it would change the course for future games. Not so much Sword and Shield themselves, but redirect the franchise going forward. So instead of prioritizing, getting stuff out on a yearly schedule or just pumping things out as fast as they can, shift it more towards taking their time, spacing out their releases more, having generations last longer, and making each release more robust, more feature rich, more content rich, and actually include all the Pokemon in them. That was my hope. And this message doesn't really, rule that out, but it doesn't specifically make me any more hopeful that that's the direction they're going to be going in. So, right now things are looking bleak. If you're like me, if you are upset with this, I don't believe in telling people how to spend their money, but the best thing you could do is just not buy it. Or, get it off of eBay or something later. Which is pretty much the point I'm at right now. In my last video, I said that I wasn't getting it on launch, but I might get it later. At this point, if I get it at all, I will be getting it like off eBay or something. I'm not going to be buying it new from the store. So, money speaks louder than words. So, I think that's the best thing you could do at this point if you are upset about it. A drastic drop in sales would make them change course, but again, not trying to be defeatist or anything, but I find it very unlikely that these games are going to suffer a huge sales drop. They might suffer a small sales drop, but whether or not it'll be enough to actually make a huge impact, I'm just not confident about. But ultimately, I think that's the best move for people upset. Speak with your wallet and speak with your mouth too. Keep mouthing online. I know that people bitching about it, and fuck those people. I don't give a shit. I'm glad they're mad. So anyway, keep mouthing, keep voicing your opinions, keep communicating. Do it in a constructive manner. Don't be a fucking retard, because that doesn't help anyone. But, speak your mind. post anywhere and everywhere you can, and just let your voice be heard. So hopefully it'll be enough to maybe change the course in the future, but as of right now, it looks like not only Sword and Shield, but also any titles after that is gonna be a big step down. So hopefully things get reversed. That's really all we can do right now is bitch and hope. So there you go. But anyway, I guess that's all I got to say. So lots of luck to you and yours.